Hey, what's going on YouTube? It is Craig Harris, the black man in the green chair, and I'm hitting you with another late night video. It's 10:15 East Coast time. This is going off a little bit late. Had a podcast earlier with my man JD33. It was a little bit staticky. Hopefully, I've got all that knocked out of this mic. I got this blue snowball mic, and hopefully it's working pretty good right now. Let me go ahead and get to the news, because it was a great week in gaming. We got hardware coming out with the PS4 VR, which seems to be selling really well. I've seen some people live stream it. The people live streaming it, I think, saw it was like an amusement ride game, and there were people jumping out at them, and you had used the move sticks as guns, and looked pretty jump scares. It looked pretty fun to be playing. The person that was playing it was enjoying it, and so shout out to that person. I think it was Dark Cloud, and you all should go and check that video out, because he knows how to live stream and do that stuff. And it was cool. It was pretty cool to see, but like, he was enjoying it, so good for him. And again, the hardware has sold very well for Sony. The reason why that Sony and I guess is it Samsung with Vive or View, and then there's Oculus. Those companies are trying to grow the market. They're not competing right now. They're just wanting to grow the market. And with Sony coming in and selling really well around the world, that shows that there's a market there. So now that's good for everybody, because if you want to go to Oculus and wait on Oculus, that's perfectly fine. Oculus is supposed to be a little more powerful, and we'll have to wait and see. But again, and move on to other big news. Nintendo with the Switch. They announced that 24 hours ago. And shout out to One Stop for Gamers, Bear Hugger, Dad Hip, the podcast on that, and everybody seems pretty excited about it. It did get some negative reviews. There are people who do not like it, but for all you all in the earshot, it's in the earshot of my voice, go ahead and look into it for yourself. I mean, I don't know about the durability, because it looks like you're going to be taking things off, putting it back on. So if you do buy it, just go ahead and buy the extended warranty that comes with it, because I don't know how durable it's going to be. Nintendo always delivers on games, however. Their games are not broken when they come out. There is no DLC bullshit, no day one stuff like that. At least not yet. And they do have some third-party developers. I saw there's a huge list, including Bethesda. They showed a Skyrim running on it. So again, if it's going to have games like that running on it, that's great. Bring back Bayonetta. Throw another Mario or Donkey Kong in there, and you're going to be selling like hotcakes. But again, it was a pretty neat system. It transformed, so to speak. Yeah, but it transformed. You had the little sticks on there. You had the mobile gaming thing that Nintendo seems to be going after. And I like Nintendo's thing, because they're just kind of like, here's what we're doing, and if you don't like it, you can go kick rocks. I mean, it's perfectly fine. But again, I seem to enjoy it. Nintendo did not announce a price, and hopefully, whatever it is, it's going to be a day one buy for me. That thing looked pretty neat. All right, so let's move on to what the big news of today was. And I'm just going to read a article from The Verge. This came out this morning. It's lit up the internet. It's about Sony's PlayStation Pro. And allegedly it's packing more of a punch than we got led to believe. But I'm just going to read some excerpts from the article, because I'm not a big tech guy, not yet. I'm trying to learn it all. I did do a podcast earlier with JD33, and he really broke a lot of stuff down, helped me understand it a little bit more. But the Digital Foundry article was just too tech heavy for me to try to read from. The Verge article watered it down, and that's kind of what I need at this point, because again, I'm a noob at the YouTube thing, and I'm building a computer, but That's going to be fun trying to build that. It's doesn't look hard, but good God, hopefully I can work that out. But let me pull up here, or this article that I've got from The Verge. Pretty much just came out a couple days ago. It's by Nick Stott over at The Verge in October 20th, 2016. He interviewed a Sony chief PlayStation architect, Mark. I don't know if it's Cerny or Kearney. I'm just going to call him Mark C. But Mark C has worked at Sony doing games like Crash Bandicoot, Uncharted, Spyro the Dragon, even Ratchet and Clank. But here's what he had to say about the PS4, the specs and capabilities, and I guess the secret sauce that everybody's kind of been talking about, and secret sauce. But here's some of what he was talking about. The Verge. The question, okay, here's what it says. It says the PS4 Pro is 2.28 times more powerful than its predecessor, but not everything will run in native 4K. So it says instead of using an entirely new GPU, Mark C said the PS4 is going to be using a double size one. So in effect, the new console, that's the Pro, has a second identical GPU or a mirror GPU next to the original, and that's as a 14% boost in frequency to 911 MHz. So that doubles the Pro's processing power. The standard PS4, the one that you can go buy right now, physically it's in the stores right now, you can go buy it. It has a 1.8 teraflops, and teraflops, I guess, is a big deal today. It's going around like it sounds important. I don't know what a T-flop is, but I'll have to look it up. So the PS4 Pro achieves 4.2 teraflops. All right, so there's 4.2 teraflops. Mark C is confirming. So that's what it has. So the console uses the same 8 Jaguar CPU core, but clocked at a higher speed. So I have no idea what overclocking does, but I guess it helps. But that's what this is going to do. It also makes use of the system memory in a more efficient fashion. So it's using a higher bandwidth on the 8 gigs of GDDR5 or graphic DDR5 memory to squeeze out an additional 512 MB for game developers to make use of an additional 1 gig of conventional DRAM or DRAM. I just called it DRAM. Was put in the Pro to help switch applications so that software like Netflix can be stored in the DRAM when it's open but not in use. So it puts it in like a stasis or standby mode. Now, because it's in a stasis or a standby mode, it says this is how the device can achieve native 4K. And in some cases, what Mark C said, the results are extremely close to 4K. So I guess what this is saying to me, now this is just to me, it can achieve native 4K, and some results are going to be extremely close to 4K. But what is extremely close? I do not know. It's for select software. So the adventure title, according to this article, according to the interview, adventure titles like Horizon Zero Dawn and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which, I mean, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is getting hammered right now. It's the lowest reserved Modern Warfare Call of Duty game up to date. It will use both of these games will use a crafty technique called checkerboard rendering to achieve, excuse me. Oh, that was rude. Excuse me. To achieve 2160p resolution. So since checkerboard rendering changes the formation of pixels to achieve higher fidelity graphics. So again, they're looking at each individual pixel and they're just going into that pixel. And I guess if the pixel is, imagine a circle, just imagine a pizza, and it's going to go, and somebody's going to go in and slice it into four big slices. Sounds like they're able to do that, do something similar to that, and then, put a little more sauce on it, You know, people want hot sauce. They want garlic butter on that pizza or something like that. So you're spicing it up. You're going to give it a higher fidelity. And that's why Horizon Zero Dawn, if you see it running on a UHD TV versus running on your regular YouTube computer, not UHD, you just have 720p or something like that, it looks grainy in 720p. It still looks good. I mean, it still looks better than anything I can imagine. But with that said, it's going to have a higher fidelity. That's again, as a consumer, I love that. All right, it says for other titles like Watch Dogs 2 and then going back to Deus Ex Mankind, the Pro will render in 1800p. So again, it's instead of it running in 1080p, it's running in 1800p, and of course 1800p is UHD. And remember, anything higher than 1080p, guys, is 1800p. So it's let's see here. So developers can also patch existing games to run upscale 1080p, meaning the image will be shrunken down. It will be a shrunken down version of a 4K one. So they're going to take the wider version, go in, do something with that technique, the checkerboard technique, and then they're going to be able to it just faded to black. The hell's going on with this? Okay, if anybody else out there has Windows 10, can somebody tell me why I have to keep moving the goddamn joystick or mouse? My screen stay up here. It goes back to the screensaver all the time. God damn. All right, anyway, here we go. So developers can also, I just said developers can patch in patch games that are at 900p. They can get them to 1080p. So that's the only game I can think right now that runs at 900p or 800p. I think you have the Order 1886, and then you also have the Star Wars Battlefront, which is 900, and maybe Battlefield is 900p. I'm not for sure. Not 100% sure. I know Star Wars is, and I know that the Order was below 900p. It was like 830 or something like that. Again, still very good for a home console, but everybody's bitching and moaning wanting 1080p. All right. Moving on in this article. This is still the Verge article, folks. Standard PS4 games will play just the same unless devs patch them. So I guess there's more than 700 existing PS4 games, huge library, guys. I mean, that includes their JRPGs that are sold overseas too, not sold in the United States. A lot of the Sony's games are sold in Japan that you can't get here. You can't get these games here. So Mark C., that's the guy at Sony, said their goal was to ensure that those titles play smoothly no matter what. Because there's going to be a whole bunch of people who go out and buy the Pro. There's going to be just as many people who don't go buy it. So they don't want to leave those people behind. So that's why the Pro incorporates an identical GPU, because the new console has the old GPU, and it's a mirror image of itself. That's why the Pro, I guess, is bigger, because it's got more juice, you know. So it says Sony can support existing games with a simple trick. It says we just turn off the second GPU. So somehow it's going to recognize it has an older game in it. So that's part of the secret sauce that everybody's been talking about. Speaking of secret sauce, don't mind me right now. I'm going to take a sip. All righty. So let me keep going. Says here that he said the developers can patch these titles to boost graphics and performance in very subtle ways, but unless you have a 4K television, the difference will not be substantial. So let me say that again. Unless you have the UHD TVs, because again, anybody who subbed to my channel, if you're new, and a shout out to all the new subs, 4K to me is 4096p. When you hear me, Craig Harris, say 4K, whether I'm doing this podcast or I've been invited to another one, I just want you to know 4K to me is 4096p. What some of these clowns are talking about online is there's a consumer 4K that's 3860 by 21. I'm sorry, it's 3840 by 2160p. I don't use that version of 4K. I will argue somebody to the end of time if I don't if they say this is 4K because this is what the consumers have decided that they want it, and that's bullshit. No consumer wants to be told 4 is the same as 1000 is the exact same as 38. But that's what these guys are literally online saying, that this is the accepted thing. I certainly hope I didn't air because this damn thing went back to the Windows screen. So, okay. So again, developers can patch these older titles to boost the graphics, performance in very subtle ways. But again, unless you have that 4K television, the difference will not be substantial. All right, so let's move on. This is the Verge article written a couple days ago. This www.theverge.com. This is not the Digital Foundry article because, again, that was too tech heavy for me. So let me move on. Sony, this is the next part of the article. Sony says it doesn't want games released solely for the PS4 Pro. So it says we're putting a very high premium on not splitting the user base in that fashion. That doesn't rule out the possibility that 2 or even 3 years down the line, a game comes out that relies so heavily on the new hardware that it's unplayable on the PS4 Pro. But that's 2 to 3 years down the road. So I don't want to hear people saying, well, Sony lied. They didn't. I mean, they're saying it is possible. But at 3 years down the road, we're 6.5 years into this product, and you can expect games to start coming out that's going to be pro heavy, and you can expect the developers to be able to max out the graphical content, and you can expect the developers to get the sound going correctly. So they're basically saying, Sony is asking developers to take advantage of the new console without leaving older hardware behind. So what that does is that if you're a smaller gaming studio and you just want to develop for the regular PS4, there you go, and your actual production costs will go down. I actually talked to a friend of mine's son who's doing game theory, and he said that in theory that should come down. The production costs for the PS4, just as it's going to come down for the regular Xbox as well. The production costs will come down. That's just the way that technology works for folks. All right, it says the PS4 Pro won't offer an immediate benefit to the VR. So that literally means it's they may be waiting for Scorpio to kind of take that part of the market. It's this basically Sony has opened the door for this market. I've always said, Samsung knocked on the door. Sony has opened the door. Microsoft's got to start putting, start looking around the house. They're going to, because of their software company, they've got to take the lead at this point. Sony and Samsung have done their parts, 3 steps. So all of them are working together again. They're not trying to kill each other, maybe 2 to 3 years down the road, but possibly, but I think that's my opinion. That's what I think they're doing at this point. So, okay, the article goes on. They want, as far as the PSVR, they want them to do what they can with the OG PS4 first, and then start taking advantage of the Pro. That's their long-term plan, but of course they can't make the developers do that. That's just what they hope the developers do. And again, it extends the life of the PSVR. Okay, let's move on here. All right. There won't be a 2 terabyte option for the foreseeable future. Okay. One of the benefits of the PS4 Pro is its larger hard drive. The new console will ship with 1 terabyte of storage, and the drive will remain user replaceable in the event you want to put in a larger HDD or swap in a faster SSD. So that's something I may end up doing. I don't know. It says as to whether Sony would be offering a 2 terabyte model for those uninterested in doing the work for themselves. He said he was tight-lipped and said that the pro-ready games would not be large in size to the standard PS4 game. So at least right off the bat, their games are going to roughly be the same size. Speaking of size, oh, that's a good drink. Okay, so again, if you want to swap it out, the HDD for a faster SSD, I think SSDs that stay dry. I can't remember. I wrote it down somewhere, but again, I'm building a PC. Something that I may end up having to get. But so let me continue. It says there won't be a PS4 Pro Elite controller. Says that they made that point that Sony is not interested in selling an expensive gamepad like the Xbox One Elite controller. So it says they're focusing on a single unified audience, and it says you need to be careful to the enhancements we add to the controller. It says, but it's not something that's going to create, haves and have not. So again, they don't want a group of people that's got one or the other thing, and which to me, they may down the line do this. I mean, possibly, but they feel comfortable with that joystick being the way it is. Again, I like that joystick. I do like the Xbox S joystick a little more for me. I like the contour on my hand a little bit better. With that said, that's just my opinion. That's not a diss on the PlayStation joystick. So let me move on. Okay, here's a big one. Because I saw people today arguing that the slim Xbox is still better because it's a 4K Blu-ray player. Well, let me ask everybody that's going to listen to this, and just ask yourself this when you go to the store. The biggest movie this year in the world, and so far, has been Captain America: Civil War on UHD or 4K. You got to ask yourself why. Well, Sony is a company that makes movies and TV shows. Here's their answer. Okay. It says that Sony Interactive Entertainment, the CEO, Andrew House, has said the future is in services like Netflix. Says what they're seeing analytically is the consumers are switching to streaming. I mean, even at this point right now, Hulu has a sale, $5.99 monthly. Hulu is normally either $7.99 or $8.99. And they're trying to get people just to do internet and then come back and not have no fucking cable. And I don't blame them because fucking cable was out of control expensive. But with that said, it says having 4K streaming with PS4 Pro is very natural. He would not eliminate to what benefits removing the disc functionality provides. Well, I can tell you one of the benefits is that it makes it more cost effective, and they can sell you this damn thing at $3.99. So that is pretty much it. Again, the Pro launches next month, and I'm glad that they've done this. I mean, according the other article, I'm going to see if I can pull that up and see if I can just kind of nibble on it a little bit for everybody. Let me get rid of this Verge one here, and let me go to Bing and then go to PS4 Pro digital. Let's see here. This is the big article that came out, Eurogamer, and it's entitled. This is Eurogamer.net. It's entitled "Inside PlayStation 4 Pro: How Sony Made the First 4K Gaming Console." This is from Richard Leadbetter. It was published again 10/20/16. Again, it's an interview with the same guy. Again, it does state again it is 4.2 teraflops of GPU power. Let's see here, but somehow, I'm truly just trying to find the highlights here. Let's see here. It says that the Pro was actually 400 page briefings, and Let's see here. Let's see. It's a Pro CPU, 8 Jaguar cores, clocked at 2.1 gigahertz. That's a 1.3 boost over the base PS4. 36 improved GCN compute units at 911 megahertz, or 2.3 flops. So I guess that's where they're getting the 2.24, whatever it is, that it's better. 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 at 218 gigabytes, and versus that's the Pro versus the old PS4. That's 8 gigabytes GDDR5 at 176 gigabytes. Again, this is extremely technical, and like it's talking about the let's see here. Says for variable frame rate games, we're looking to boost the frame rate, but we also wanted interoperability. So we want the 700 existing titles to work flawlessly, they say. So that's possibly they're talking about percentages, 30% higher than the 1.6. I mean, it's extremely technical. I'm trying to find something here that says how they are able to render the thought it was in here earlier. Let's see here. Let's see. But basically, again, what they're able to do, okay, it says on PS4 Pro, again, says we do it says when you stop using Netflix, we move it to the slow conventional gigabyte of DRAM. So again, it's just going to go into stasis. I was saying this earlier. It says using that strategy frees up almost 1 gigabyte of the 8 gigabytes of GDDR5. And so since they're doing that, excuse me, since they're doing that, says, which is to say that games use 5.5 gigabytes instead of the 5, and we use most of the rest of that to make the interface. So again, they're going to have, seems like a, excuse me, again, pretty basic interface. Says meaning what you see when you hit the PS button at 4K rather than the 1080p it is today. So I guess your pop-up screen, I think, is going to be in 4K, which I think the PS4, the Xbox is like that too. I'm not for sure. I mean, again, my Xbox will be here in 90 hours. So I'm excited about that. So see, to accommodate ultra. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Yeah, to accommodate ultra HD rendering, there are obviously boosts to the GPU, and they hail from AMD's architectures of the present and indeed the future. So Polaris is some chip that Microsoft is using. It's a very energy efficient GPU architecture that lets us boost GPU power pretty dramatically while keeping the console form factor roughly the same. So I guess it gave them a little more juice, and they didn't have to go in and change a ton of shit about the console. So DCC, which is short for Delta Color Compression, is the roadmap that's being used to improve the Polaris. So I guess they have a chip. They had to write a program to help the chip do better, and it's called DCC. So I'm kind of understanding that. That's not too difficult to understand. But the first time you're going to see it used is making its debut in the Pro. So this is why I say to people, I would wait 60 to 90 days for this damn thing to come out to make sure it's going to work okay. I'm going to get the one that has Mass Effect on it. They better have a Mass Effect bundle because a brother's going to be getting the Mass Effect one. I love me some Mass Effect. So they better get it right. I love me some Mass Effect. So it says DCC allows for in-flight compression of the data heading towards frame buffers and render targets, which results in a reduction in the bandwidth used to assess them. So it's just streamlining everything. So, I mean, again, this is very technical. It's well, now here's something that's really technical, and I can't even read that. It's talking about vector registers and float, 32-bit float. What the hell is all that? And but basically, it just sounds like they're going to be able to render 4K. So it says they have a Radeon HD 78050, and it says PS4's GPU looks a lot like the I don't know if that's Pitt Carney or something like that. Designed to debut in the Radeon HD 78050 and 780 and 787. The Xbox One equivalent bears more than a passing relationship to the Bone Air processor that debuted in the Radeon 7790. So it says so. It's actually pretty neat on how this machine is going to work. Now, I don't know if it's going to be more powerful than the Scorpion. I don't know if it's going to be less powerful than the Scorpion, but it just sounds like because they've got a mirror chip in there with the Pro is going to be, I guess, the Pro is going to be anywhere from 5.5, to 8. They just, rounded it up to 9. And but again, teraflop, I'm going to have to really try to understand what that means. And if somebody wants to go ahead and explain to me what it is, and JD, he did a really good job on it. And a shout out to him. But let's see here. It's let me see if I can get you some more about the 4K stuff. So all right, geometry rendering is a simpler form of Ultra HD. So this is another way you can get Ultra HD. You go into the stores, you see Samsung, you see Sony, you see LG, hell, you see Hisense and Panasonic. They're not all using the same kind of technology to get you a UHD picture, but they're getting you a UHD picture. And the way, this is why people that are online, and I don't understand this, is you got to understand there's different ways to get to the number 10. 9 plus 1 is 10. So is 11 minus 1. So is 8 plus 2. So is 20 minus 10. Sony's is using a different way to get it. They call it secret sauce. So, so again, it's pretty friggin' funny to me. Let's see. He says the cost is very low, and our take on this is that it could help super sampling scenarios at 1080p. But it says some titles rendered at 900p on the base PS4 could get a bump to 1080p, and then the ones that are already in 1080p could get a render boost to 4K. So he said from the infamous demo that he saw, there's a big boost to clarity, but it's not akin to the complete native 4K package. Checkerboarding is another matter. So, okay, checkerboarding up to full 4K is more demanding and requires half the basic resolution. A 1920, which is not 3840, let me make that clear, to 2160 buffer, but there's the 2160 that they've been wanting. So it says, but the access to the triangle and object data in the ID buffer, again, more tech talk. Beautiful things can happen as technique upon technique layers, blah, 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 blah. So, here we go. My understanding of this, I'm going to close this article out here. Let's see here. All right, here's some more stuff here, then I'll close it out. Uncharted 4 is undergoing retooling, okay? But they're going to have 13. They've revealed 13 games, 9 use checkerboarding. Days Gone, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Horizon Zero Dawn will all render up to 2160p with checkerboarding. Super sampling down to 1080p on full HD displays. So there we go. If you got a 1080p TV, you will see a boost. You don't need all this HDR bullshit. You're going to get a boost, okay? Says, while the Lara Croft title has multiple modes with explicit 1080p support, Mark C is keen to point out that developers are free to use the checkerboarding tech as they see fit, so that many of us will see different variations and different interpretations. Again, I think that's fantastic as a consumer. Watch Dogs 2, Killing Floor 2, which I've never heard of Killing Floor 2, Infamous. I assume this is the entire Infamous thing and not just that first light or that where that girl was going all around doing stuff. And Mass Effect Andromeda will all use 1800p checkerboarding. So again, it's going to output at 1800p, which is already at UHD. So it's going to be fucking gorgeous, people. Gorgeous. And so it should render up to 2160p. Should. We'll have to wait and see. So they just say Mass Effect Andromeda has two different strategies. They have a checkerboard for 4K. They have a separate mode for high quality graphics at 1080p. And I think that's fantastic. So at this point, let me tell you this right now. You can go get a 1080p TV. I mean, a goddamn good one, and get some pretty nice looking games, folks. I'm serious. You can get a 1080p, like 120 hertz TV at Best Buy. I know this weekend they're on sale today, but they went on sale. You can get a Samsung for like $279. Hold on. Speaking of $279, hold on. Woo. All righty. So, oh man. Woo. It says developers can use a software scale from 2160p HUD and menu elements, or stick to 1800p and allow the hardware to scale up to 4K. So again, I think this is fantastic. So, and the screenshot that they've got from Deus Ex Mankind, it's 3360 by 1890. Again, it's UHD. So again, this is what Sony said they were going to do. This is a mid-level bump to the games. And that's all I can really say about this. I mean, I'm not here to pit one side against each other. I think it was funny to see the blood being spilled after this announcement came out. It was interesting. And yeah, I egged it on a little bit. It was fun, but it was all in fun. And again, a shout out to all those guys, Cycle Gamer, been a really good sport about it. He's a cool guy, and that's all I can. I mean, he's a really cool guy. Shout out to the one viewer. Hopefully, it's been entertaining. Hopefully, the mic isn't as staticky as it was this afternoon when I was doing that podcast. I really got to try to get that cleaned up. That's happened to me 2 times now. 2 times. But again, shout out to all the subs. Again, my 28 subs. Love you guys. Thank you all for subbing to my channel. Somebody had told me when I bought this microphone a few weeks ago, or about a month and a half ago, that I would be I would have subs, people would be listening to me. I would have said, yeah, right. But I do appreciate you guys sticking with me. The channel hopefully will grow. I'm just here for you guys. Again, none of my stuff is monetized. I don't have enough subs. So you don't have to worry about me lying and trying to get stuff to get you to click over. I'm trying to do a shout out to Next Gen 720. Go check out his new UFO video. He talks about him and his family. Has gone through some stuff. It's really interesting. I'm hoping to do a podcast with him on the whole UFO thing. I do like that kind of stuff. I did tweet him. So big shout out to him, and I hope his family's doing well. Yeah, if you're not sub to his channel, go ahead and sub to his channel, because he's always been cool with me. And those brothers, we got to stick together. Don't have to agree, but we can all agree to disagree and go on like grown ass men. Again, shout out to JD33 today. He came on again. That was not planned, but he was a good sport about it. He really helped me, a kind of a noob, especially the PC, that how this thing is going to work with the checkerboarding, and all you Xbox people, because I have an Xbox coming to me, so I'll be in your community, and that bullshit has got to stop. Your consoles aren't as powerful. The games don't render up as high in fidelity, but you got to quit with the whining. It's beneath all of you. Just be a gamer. Enjoy playing the games. I had an Xbox 360. I've had a PlayStation 2. I've had a PlayStation 4. Now I'm getting the Xbox Slim. I'm also going to go ahead and get the PlayStation Pro, but I'm going to wait, like I've said on different podcasts, I'm going to wait for at least 60 to 90 days to make sure that the system does work and it doesn't catch on fire, that kind of stuff. Not that it will, but I just don't want to take that chance. Again, shout out to One Stop for Gamers, Bear Hugger 29. Thanks for including me into the you guys community. And again, thanks for everybody listening to us and things like that and chopping it up with us. Go sub to their channels if you're not already. Shout out to the other people that, shout out to everybody. Chelsea Huber, Jeffrey Stilwell, all you guys on the channel. I appreciate you subbing. And that is going to be it for me. Peace out. Shout out again to the one viewer. I do appreciate you listening. Thanks a lot, buddy. Take it easy. You have a good, blessed weekend. Peace.